Hello guys, in this video we are going to be building out this beautiful pop-up modal. As you can see here, if you click outside the modal, it disappears. If you click on login, it comes back. If you click within the modal, it doesn't disappear, and if you click on this X, it should disappear. Alright, let's begin building this modal immediately. So first of all, we are going to create a Next app and see how we can do it step by step. So in our CMD, I'm just going to npx create next app and want to use the latest flag at latest. Okay, we hit enter and that should create our next app for us. Next.js 14, we're going to say yes. Why? The name of our project is going to be login-modal. We hit enter. TypeScript, yes. Lint, yes. Tailwind, yes. Source directly, no. App router, yes. No. And we're just going to keep clicking enter till we install our Next.js app. Alright, so we have a fresh Next.js app over here. Now we're just going to build on top of this and create our navbar and our pop-up modal, right? Now in our app directory, let's create a new folder for components. So we're just going to say components and then a new file for our navbar.tsx. And then we're going to build our navbar over here. So we're just going to create a new component, array-fce, React arrow function component. And then here, we're just going to make this a tag nav. So we're just going to define one span, which is going to have the value of home. And then we're going to create a button, call it login. This is the button that will trigger the pop-up. So let's give our nav a little bit of styling. We're just going to define our class name here. Now let's head over to our layout.tsx file and import our navbar. So inside of our body tag, before the children value here, we're just going to import our navbar and put it right above the children value. So we're just going to say navbar. And if I hit Control space, you should find the folder. So navbar from components navbar. And let's go back to our browser and see how that looks like. You see? So this is our navbar over here. Let's give our login button a little bit of styling. So over at our navbar, our button, we're just going to give it a class name of BG orange 500, a padding horizontal of 4, and then a padding vertical of 1. And then we're going to give it a rounded border radius of MD, so rounded MD. I think it looks better now. All right, now let's create our pop-up modal since we are done with the navbar. So inside of our component, we're just going to create a new file, call it loginmodal.tsx. Loginmodal.tsx. And then let's create our component. So I'm just going to do array-fce, React arrow function component. And then here, this is going to take a prop of handle show modal. Since we are using TypeScript, we need to define the type, handle show modal. And this is going to be a type of function that returns void. So inside of this div is where we're going to put our modal styling, which is this. But before we do that, let's create this blur background and also make it that whenever we click on, outside the modal, it removes the pop-up. And whenever we click inside of this, it doesn't remove the pop-up, right? All right. So inside of this div, this is the container div. We're just going to give it a class name. And here, we're going to give it a width. We're going to give it a width of full, W full, and then also our height is going to be 100%. And then we want to make it a position of absolute with top of 0. Height of full, position of absolute, and top of 0, right? And now we're going to give it a backdrop filter. And then we're also going to give it a backdrop brightness of 75. A backdrop filter as well as a backdrop brightness of 75. After that, we're just going to give it a backdrop blur of MD. So now we have defined this background over here. So we're also going to add an onClick to remove the modal. So we're going to do onClick, and then this is going to take our handle show modal. As simple as that. All right, now let's create the modal pop-up component which you have over here. And you can click the link in the description to just copy the code and paste in here, so we don't have to waste any more time. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy the code inside of this container div we already created. We're just going to paste it in here. And you can see we have some errors. We need to import the image from Next.js. So import image from Next. And that should be all. All right, now we've created the modal. Now let's actually make it show up whenever we click on that login. Back in our layout.tsx, let's create a state that handles showing the pop-up modal. So here, I'm just going to do const show modal, and then I'm also going to do set show modal over here, and that is going to be a use state value, and we're going to initialize it to false. Let's import useState from React. Import useState from React. Now in Next.js, whenever you want to use state, you must turn that component to a client component. And so this is our layout.tsx, right? This is our app entry. So it's not really ideal to turn your entire layout.tsx to a client component. So for that, you can create like a layout wrapper that is going to hold this code, and you can import it into your layout to keep the layout component, a server component. But this is just to demonstrate how to build a pop-up modal, so there is no problem with that. I'm just going to turn this to a use client. And then, as you can see, we have an error here. I'm just going to remove the metadata, and yes, that should work. All right, so here, let's import our pop-up modal. So we called it login modal. We're just going to import that, and then also we need to pass the handle show modal function to it. So right below our use state, let's create a handle show modal here. So I'm going to say const handle show modal is going to be a function, and this function is simply going to set the show modal to not show modal, right? So whatever the value of show modal is, if this function triggers, it's going to do opposite of that. And I think this is pretty intuitive. All right, so we're just going to pass this function to this, and that should be all. Now we want to trigger the login modal whenever the show modal is true, right? So we're going to put this inside of a condition. So we're going to say show modal, and then and then we're just going to cut this login modal over here and paste it inside here. So whenever the show modal is true, the login modal is going to, open up. All right. So if we go back to the version that works, you can see that whenever we click the login, that is when this modal should pop up, right? So in our code, we just have to go back to our navbar, and then we're going to take a prop that allows us to show that modal, right? So let's destructure here. We're also going to call this handle show modal. This is going to be the same thing as the other one. Handle show modal, and this is going to be a function that returns void, just like the previous one, right? All right, so now in our button, in our login button, we're just going to create an onClick event, and then we paste the handle show modal over there. Now back in our layout.tsx, we just need to add the handle show modal function to the navbar component over here. So we just do handle show modal, handle show modal. All right, let's head over to our browser, go back to the version we are working with, allow that finish loading, and then if we click on login, you can see we have it over here, but it's kind of skewed, and we just have to go back and tweak a few things, right? If you go back to our code, go back to our login modal, let's give this display of flex, and then we can do justify content, center, align items of center. Let's see how that looks like. As you can see, it looks better, it looks clean, the blur works, and this is exactly what we wanted to. Now, if we click anywhere within this modal, it's going to disappear, which is not what we want. We only want it to disappear if we click outside of the box over here, right? Now, back in our login modal, the div we just imported over here, which is the container div, you can see here, which is the container div over here. We're just going to give it an onClick. We're going to give it an onClick event, and we want to do e.stop propagation, right? So an onClick event of event.stop propagation. This is going to stop the handle show modal from executing whenever we click anything within this container. All right, let's go ahead and test that. Let's refresh the browser. Let's click on login. If I click anything within here, you see it doesn't disappear. And if I click outside, it should disappear. All right, that's exactly what we wanted. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.